But I would say one thing about it, Claire, with regard to the general situation. Okay, 70% really sounds very high. But the age group involved, let's be honest about it, a significant proportion of them always went abroad, particularly after college, after finishing a first job, have an opportunity to see the world. I have a nephew myself, qualified as a doctor here in the city only a year ago, and he's up to left. He's gone to Melbourne in Australia. And he says to me, it's not just about the issue of the income, bringing home the income, it's the quality of life as well. And that's
that's different to kind of travelling. I want to explore the world. Like, he's a doctor, he's a qualified doctor, I take it, he trained here.
Yes.
What we'd like to see is him working in the system, which we know has its problems.
Why will he not? Because he says the system in Australia will give him better support. There'll be a better backup. There'll be better conditions for him to work in the hospitals. And he's not. And he and his colleagues are looking around at the HSE and the overcrowded wards and the other problems, and they're saying, "Give me a better quality of life. Maybe Bondi Beach and Odd Day as well, and a bit of good weather."
It is like, I just want to bring Eoghan in here. Like, that sense that you get more bang for your buck. That even if you're working hard, you're working those long hours. When you have your take-home income, you're getting more out of it elsewhere. That sense that you're not competing with high rents and poor working conditions, many would say.
It's an interesting one, because the places people talk about going tend to have the same rental problems, the same cost of living. They tend to aspire. There are lots of places much cheaper than Ireland. That's not where young people want to emigrate. They passed as a foreign country, LP Hartley, but Mary did in the 80s. It's very different. It was a life choice then. It's more a lifestyle style choice now, with full employment. They're looking at different things. It would cost the same for a flight to New York in the 80s as it does now. Actually, pound for euro, it's much, much cheaper. People can go abroad, and it's not like they were emigrating with the American wake of our grandparents' generation, because they're commuting back and forward. Even from Australia, they go to places like San Francisco, where the rents are horrendous, New York, Sydney, Melbourne. They don't go to poorer countries where rent and all of that.
And we have,
although there is a cohort that does that. There are 80,000 Irish people heading off for the winter to live in Spain. Because it's not like we are. If we were in Rhode Island, the prospect of going to California for somebody would not be held up as some sort of national tragedy. The emigration of today is more a lifestyle choice, and we're one of the original global countries. We're one of the original globalised countries.
Yeah, let's talk about that, Rebecca, if you're still with us on that. There is always this argument, there's a cultural tradition in this country of travelling. We live on an island. When you're younger, you want to go off, you want to experience life abroad and all that it has to offer. And right now, it's different to the 80s, because what Eoghan is arguing is this is a lifestyle choice that you're making.
Yeah, I have seen that argument being countered, that emigration is the nature of being young rather than the nature of the Irish economy. And to that, I would say that it's very important to think about and for us to take in people's lived experiences. And my experience as a young Irish person, which is one I'm sure a lot of other people can relate to, is that you are spending a lot of time and a lot of money to get an education. And at the end of that, the expectation is that you will have a good paying job and be able to have a nice life. And unfortunately, a lot of graduates, especially those in creative industries, are being met with job postings that are offering them between 20 to 25,000 euros a year. And like you said previously, those kind of salaries don't even come close to affording to pay rent or anything like that. So while traveling, seeing the world was most definitely a consideration for me to move to New York, there were things, of course, that could have kept me in Ireland. I have family, I have friends, I had a life in Ireland. But towards the end, it actually felt like I was being pushed out by Ireland itself. And I think that is an experience that a lot of people can relate to. It's sort of become coined that the era of 21st birthday parties every weekend has been replaced with bon voyage parties. And I don't really think that's something that should be celebrated.